Good morning. You join me here at the start of part 2 of this Spire Ultra race route Recce. Might need to shorten that. We're here at the 5k point where we left off last time. We're about to tackle the steepest part of the route in terms of 5k sections. We're going to be climbing around 200 meters to get us from here to almost the highest point on the entire route. So without further ado, get your climbing legs on and let's get going. So here we go then, heading up this steady climb. It's mostly firm but with some muddy sections, and it's just a constant climb. I think having just passed the 5k point you might be thinking of having a snack and maybe doing a bit of walking at this point, but it is runnable if you decide to do it that way. Fairly long trail, just carries on from Martin's Lane, this one. And as we reach the top there's a crossroads, so we just ignore this first turn on the left. We don't follow the lane to the right, we just go straight ahead. You can just see the fence there that we need to squeeze through. Now this track does lead you all the way to the woods, but we don't want to go in there. You need to look for this yellow sign and hop over into the field to the left there. And we just want to skirt around the outside of the woods using this little trail through the field. It is quite visible at the moment, and we just follow this for a good while. There's plenty of climbing with a few sort of drops as well thrown in at this stage. Down a few steps on this bit. And then leap this massive canyon at the bottom. And climbing again. So not long afterwards we get taken back into the woods here, or into the woods I should say. The GoPro doesn't like the lack of light in these wooded sections. And we've got some steps again. We're dropping down quite steeply into a valley here, and we're going to cross some water. So down some steep steps, there's always this dead fallen tree to jump over, and then you'll see the little bridge. Straight across there and up some steep steps. You can see me being a hero for the cameras, running all the way up these steps. Not sure what I was thinking, but we just end up on this muddy trail that we follow all the way to the end, and that should take us out of the woods again. Here we are, just need to go through this little squeezer, I think they call them. And again we're following a little track in the field, keeping the woods to your right, and we're climbing up a hill. You can see by how little of the sky you can see that we are climbing up here. And I did some walking on this section today, and I'll certainly be doing some walking on race day as well. You can see it gets even steeper in a second here. So yeah, running up here is a bit of a challenge. You can see the sky's disappeared completely now. At this point I'm hoping someone's going to throw me a rope, but unfortunately that didn't happen, so we'll just keep plodding away up this one. Reached a bit of a plateau here as we're about to go into the next field. Nice muddy section to traverse before then. And just through this metal kissing gate into the next one. Ignore the turn off into the woods there. We're keeping into the field and on this muddy path. You can see we're climbing again. There's a little sliver of sky at the top. It gets steeper and steeper here. Thankfully this climbing section comes fairly early in the race when you're still relatively fresh, but it does take it out of you, so don't overdo it on this first section unless you're some kind of hero. Now we just keep right here as we leave this field and move into the next one. And we're now nicely sandwiched between the fence on the left and the wall on the right. No sign of the sky, because again it's a steep section. Bit of a run walk bit if you can manage any running on this section, all the way up to the top, and we're almost there now. You can see the wall at the top. I'm almost able to stand upright at this point, and we're going to be turning right into the woods when we reach the end. Squeeze through here again. There's a few paths to choose from, but just bare left. We're sticking towards the edge of the woods to begin with here. I'm trying to take the most direct route, which will get us onto a road at the far end. Watch out for roots here as well. A lot of them were covered up with autumn leaves today, which made it a bit trickier to avoid them. But we're just following the main wider path here. Ignore any turn-offs to the left. You can take the first turn off to the left and skirt around the outside of the woods here if you wanted to take a slightly more circuitous route, but there's no advantage to that really, and the GPX will take you straight ahead. Just bear right here, turning left just gets you to the top of those cliffs and is a dead end really. And that's all the navigation done. Just follow the main path all the way through now. You can see the light now. There's a gate there. You would appear from the left if you'd gone the long way around. But we can see there's a gate with a little yellow sign on, which is a round walk sign pointing left, as we're about to turn left onto the road and drop down this steep hill. It's a narrow road here. You don't get much traffic, but there's only really room for one car and there's no footpath. So it's not very often you meet anything, but I have done a time or two when I've been here. Thankfully on a section where there's just been enough verge for me to stand on out of the way while the car went past. It's quite a steep drop. Past a few houses we see on the right there. Just carry on. And we reach the bottom and then start climbing up the other side. I'm going to turn right here up the bridle path towards Manor Farm with yet more climbing. So this is another moderately steep, fairly long climb, but nice and easy to navigate. Just follow this bridle way. So eventually we reach the gateway that takes us to the old manor. You'll see appearing on the left a little red sign, which is what we're heading for. That's the gate we need to squeeze past. I think you can open the gate if you want to, but there's usually just room to climb over the little stile thing here. And this is one of those where you think it's muddy and then it gets worse and then it gets worse. So yeah, be prepared on this section. Just about to reach the worst bit now. You see the puddle stops you getting onto the left hand side, which is where you want to be. So I've skirted around the right hand side here, but that then leaves you in a real soggy mess. Suffice to say, my trail shoes needed a wash after this section. Had to come back down this way later as well. But there is a bit of a verge on the left hand side now if you can somehow manage to hop across without sinking. Hopefully, come May, when it's race day, this should be a bit drier. Oh, it's not rocket, pardon me. Carry on and turn left onto the driveway here. Just following this farm driveway, nice and easy, much better terrain than we've just been on. Still a bit more climbing to do, of course. And we just follow this all the way to the gate at the end. There we go. You may need to open that smaller gate to the right if the big one's closed on race day, which hopefully it won't be. I seem to remember there was a marshal here helping to cross, because it is quite a busy road sometimes, and it's a 60 mph speed limit, so you just have to be careful. You cross onto the grass verge, which is what passes for a path on this section. We're not on here for very long. There's a right turn coming up very shortly. I usually opt to climb the stone steps. I imagine the gate is functional, I just don't tend to use it. Just climb over the wall there. And we're following this path through the farm. Notice quite a few gunshots as we're passing along here today. So if you did pack a bulletproof vest, now's the time to put it on. Everybody down. Just following this main track straight ahead. I'm running as fast as I can. So we're almost straight across the field, just veering left ever so slightly towards the middle of that bunch of trees. And we can see the exit now. Slightly more visible path here, the brown line through the field. Again, we're going almost straight across. There's quite a wide gap as we exit, and then as we move into this field we just veer right a bit and kind of leave the field halfway down the right hand side of the field. There's the little gate that we're heading for, running away from the gunfire. And then we carry on in the same direction we've just been headed, just to the right of that tree. See, there is a squeezer you can go through if you really feel the need, but it's a lot easier to go around. And then we just keep to the left hand side of the field. There is a footpath here somewhere, trust me. Some of them are a bit hard to see, but we see the exit. It's a bit of a higgledy-piggledy mess, this exit, but just mind your footing. And keep to the left of the field again. Now as we reach the end of that field, there's kind of a tractor track. I was a little bit confused at this point because I know the public footpath's right at the very left hand edge and you're supposed to climb over that wall, but this gate was left wide open and I think everybody else has just been using this entrance. I mean, why would you bother to climb over those steps when there's a massive gap to the right of it? But I do like to follow the paths correctly when I'm on someone else's property. You can see the path more clearly now. And we're just heading into this farm that we go through the middle of. Over the stile. And then we just go right between these buildings. Heading for this gate, which confused me for a second. Tried to open the slider before moving the little rusty rectangular thing out of the way. Schoolboy error. I like these little puzzles you get out on the trails, figuring out how the gates work and where the path is. Here we just hop over the little step and veer right a bit. See a big mound of mud in the middle of the route there. Just skirt round the edge of that as we head towards the gate with the Bullin Field sign on it. More fun. You have to open this gate and kind of walk backwards until the gap's big enough next to the wall for you to squeeze through. leave it as you found it. And then we're just going next to that metal feeder and keeping the wall on our left again. I've probably told the story 1,000 times of how this little map board we're approaching was where I first discovered the Chesterfield round walk was a thing. Well, there we go, 1,001 times now. There's the map of the Chesterfield round walk, which this race is based upon, with a few deviations for safety. We keep this wall on our left now, and when it turns left 90 degrees we turn right 45, so there's a little bit of navigation here. Sloppy section here, you can either go round left or right, but you see the wall turns off to the left, and that's our cue to turn right a bit and head diagonally across the field. What we should see is there's a gate, then a stile, and then a fairly big tree, which we're aiming for. Again, it's a bit of a messy exit, so just watch yourself on this bit. And then when we get into the next field, it's banking steeply down to the right, so we want to get to the top of the field at the left. Keep the fence on your left, it tends to be drier up there, and you stay away from the most churned up section when we get nearer the farm buildings. That telegraph pole up ahead is a useful marker. We're turning off just to the left of that. So on the left, just opposite the telegraph pole, we've got the stile that we need to head for. A few more steps to the next gate. And then I was confused for a second here. You can usually see the opposite gate as soon as you get into this field, but there was a green trailer parked blocking the view, so I figured maybe it's behind that green trailer. So I just skirted around, and thankfully there's the gate. So we get into this next field and turn immediately right, and we keep the edge of the field on our right and stick with that. It bends to the right, and after a short while we should see the gate and the stile that gets us out of here. So we're going to climb onto this farm drive and turn left, which is the final bit of navigation before we get to the end of section 2. And again, it's more climbing. So yeah, I'm doing a bit of running, clearly for the camera here. You can see how steep it is. The sky's disappeared again. But yeah, this is definitely another run-walk section at best. Definitely walking now. Nice and easy to navigate this bit. We're just following this farm drive all the way to the main road, which is where this section ends. We'll have done 10k, and we should be able to get some water at the water station. And we do have that busy road to cross. Thankfully we're stopping just short of that today. And here we are. And we've made it. We're now 10k into the Spire Ultra race route.
We're almost at the highest point of the entire route. When we cross over onto Belland Lane there, just goes up another couple of meters, and that's it. That's the highest point. So we've done a big chunk of the climbing today. We've reached the point where, when I did the race in 2023, there was a water station here, some helpful volunteers to refill your water flasks, and just to make sure you get across this busy road safely. It's the A632 from Matlock to Chesterfield. It does get very busy, and once you get across, head on to Belland Lane, and we'll do that next time in part 3 of this race route recce. So join me then. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. I'll see you soon.